This is the second part of the tutorial showing you how to create a menu-driven conversion app. So far we have created the menu system. We replaced some of our stubs with some more useful code, but there are still some problems with it. If we click on Start and then press a key, if I press something like J, it appears to be doubled up and it is not giving us any useful information there. We know that it's been programmed to deal with L for length, V for volume, and S for speed. If I press L, it says I don't know what you want to do. V then closes down. To fix this code, we need to go and look at what's going on here. First of all, it is looking for a lowercase l, a lowercase v, or a lowercase s to be pressed on the keyboard. So when we use read key, it doesn't read what you've typed, it reads which key you've pressed. And you can't press a capital W because there's only a small w on the keyboard. So what we will have to do if we're looking for L, V, and S as our strings here, we'll either have to put these into lowercase or we'd have to return this in an uppercase version. Probably the easiest thing to do is just to go and set these to lowercase, so L, V, and S. If I run that code, then we can see now if I'm pressing J, it's still doubling up, but if I press L, it says you want a length conversion. And then that's us finished, so it closes down. To deal with the doubling up, we have to go and look at read key and appreciate that it's a function that can take a parameter. If we put true inside that function as something we're sending into it, it will not echo the key pressed onto the screen. So now this console write line my key is what's going to put on screen instead of it appearing when we press the key. So I press start. If I press J now, we get a single J, nothing else happens. If I press V, it says you want a volume conversion or conversion, because I haven't spelled that properly, and the program is good to go. So I'm just going to fix that little spelling mistake there. And then we are going to use our top-down processing method to now improve on the program. At the moment, it's just telling us things, but not actually being a useful program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here to speed, because we've got a speed code already. And I'm going to say, when you press S, it's going to say you want a speed conversion, and it's going to do speed conversion. Now, do speed conversion does not exist at the moment. So again, we mouse over, show potential fixes, and we ask it to generate a method. And it creates a little stub here that will just throw an exception, which means it will stop the program and look as if it's crashed. But we're going to replace this with the previously existing code. So I'm going to take my miles per hour and my constant from the top of the code here, and I'm going to cut them from the top of the code, and I'm going to wrap them up inside do speed conversion. I'm going to paste them in there. Then I'm going to take the actual code that does this, which we copied and commented down here. I'm going to take it all this time and cut it, and then go and paste it. So if I can just check here, I'm pasting inside the do speed conversion code. So it's inside this subroutine between sub and end sub. I highlight that and I uncomment it. And I should hopefully now have a useful program. So if I say that I want to do a volume conversion, it says you want volume and then it's finished. But if I was to start and say I want an S for speed conversion, it says you want a speed conversion, how many miles per hour? I'm going to go for 100 miles per hour, and that should be about 160 kilometers per hour. So our program is now doing a useful conversion from a menu choice. And what you should do is you should create similar code for all of your other conversions that you made. I'm going to go in here at L, and I'm going to say do length conversion. And do length conversion doesn't exist yet, so I mouse over it, show potential fixes, generate the stub, and I will need to remember to replace that with useful code. I'm going to go to volume. I'm going to say do volume conversion. Notice the choice of sensible, understandable names as part of my top-down processing approach. And then again, I'm going to show potential fixes, generate the stub, and then I need to go and fill it in with some code. You should have some code that you created in previous exercises. So here's my inches to centimeter code here. I'm just going to highlight that, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come back to Visual Studio, and that was a length conversion. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to take my throw new exception, and I'm going to paste there. Now, I'm going to run into problems because I had a complete program before, but now I'm trying to blend this into an existing program. So my subdo volume conversion, I've put it in the wrong place actually. Let me just undo that and go and put it inside the length. Okay, so my do length conversion is a sub and it's got an end sub, but I've also got a sub main appearing here. So I need to remove that sub main because there should only be one sub main in a program. The other thing it might have problems with, I've just copied that over and it's trying to put all of this writing onto 3 separate lines. So I'm just going to delete that back to there to make it a single line, and delete that back to there to make it a single line. And the other thing is that it's going to have a console read key true at the end of it, which is going to pause before moving on. And that might be something you want to have, or you might want it to automatically complete the program. So I'm going to remove that because I know I've got one in my main routine and I don't want to double that up. If I start my program now, it tells me there were build errors. So I'm going to say no to that. And it's telling me here that end sub must be preceded by a matching sub. So what I forgot to do was to remove the extra end sub that I pasted in there. So every sub should be matched with its own end sub and not have any extras dangling on the end. I now press run. I'm going to ask it for an H conversion. It doesn't know what that is. I'm going to ask it for an L conversion and it says you want length. How many inches? 10 inches should be about 25 centimeters. That looks good. And then it closes down. If I ask it for a D conversion, it doesn't know what that is. If I ask it for a volume conversion, it says you want a volume conversion. But what will happen now is that eventually it will throw an exception because I forgot to give it some useful code. It seems to be flashing here. Yeah, there, okay. It's gone here, behind the scenes, system not implemented. I forgot to put code in for that part of the program. So what I'd need to do is stop this and then go and replace this code with some useful code. So the general method of working there is that we create our submain. Inside it, we give meaningful, broken down instructions for what we want to do. So that is, we'll display the instructions, then we'll get the user's choice, then we will use that choice to do something. And then we replace these top-down instructions with some actual code that does something useful. We might first of all want to make a stub, something that just works in the meantime, and then replace it with something better. You'll notice that in your instructions, what we have is there is on your second page something that talks here about making a better number collector, so that if you are asking for a value from the user for how many inches there are or what speed you're doing, you want them to be able to type a number in without it crashing if they type a word by mistake. So you could replace some of your code with get valid number instead of just using it to type in. Okay, so hopefully you can get that working, and you will find that there's a follow-on exercise to make a maths coding routine with lots of different maths functions using the same kind of top-down processing approach. Good luck with that, and hopefully your code is all going to work smoothly.